getting really warm. I think I might take my jacket off. I'm sitting here like an idiot.
Yeah, it's better?
There we go. I feel better, yes.
Okay.
So what's up guys, Rogue9 here. I'm really excited for this interview. I have with me Xavier Marquis, the creative director of Rainbow Six. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today.
You're welcome.
So, for all of the audience who are maybe not quite sure about what your involvement is with Rainbow Six, with the game, can you maybe start off by giving us an introduction to who you are, how long you've been working on Rainbow Six, and what your role really is?
Okay, so I'm Xavier Marquis. I'm creative director on this game since now 2013, the beginning of this year. You know, it was around January, something like that. So I'm working on this project since the beginning, and my job is to drive a vision, define a vision, define the future of this game, what this game is about, the future also, and also work with a group of directors, and this group represents this entire pool of decision of the game. So art director, game director, etc. And me, I'm a kind of orchestra chief, you see what I mean? So to drive all this vision.
Excellent. And specifically with that, maybe you can give us a bit of an insight into the creative process. So you're involved in just about everything, the new operators, the new operations, the stories behind them, partially maybe the maps and how all the gadgets work. So what is the process? How do you go from we need a new map and a new set of operators and an operation to the final product, coming up with all the ideas? What are the steps there?
So we know already the creation comes from a schedule and a process. We know we want to reach 100 operators, so you can already imagine a kind of schedule, you know, for the future. We will develop operators after operators. But during this long road, you know, to provide operators, one thing interesting me is to create period of game mechanics. It's not only add numbers of operators, it's about what kind of new mechanics I want to add directly into the game. It's like a period from a painter, you know, the blue paint period or the red paint period, it's a bit the same thing. And now, for instance, season 1 of the new year, we will reach the globals, which is the new period in terms of mechanics we want to have. So the process, it always observe when it's missing for the game, when it's needed, and how we will be able to modify the game mechanic deeply in the future.
And is that something you specifically target? I mean,
yes.
From season to season, we do see changes in the meta. We do see changes how both casual players and professional players approach each match. So how much of that is something you're specifically trying to modify, and how much of it is a surprise to you to see what players do?
So first, we don't want to control what player does. You know, it's something we don't want, because we want also be surprised by what the player brings into the game. The creation is extremely important. So our job is not to control the player are doing. Our job is to prepare the future and surprise the player with new mechanics and see how they will react with. You know, it's a different things to provide new operators and balance the game. Balance the game. Yes, we try to control the bad behaviors, also encouraging the good behavior, etc. Learn also from the community to create a new meta. But to provide new operators, it's mainly driven by one thing: adding more creativity to the game. These mechanics we never had before.
Yeah. And are there specific rules or guidelines you use in terms of, well, we need a new operator that can create more holes in walls in a different way? Are there specific rules you follow, or are you quite relaxed on that?
First, I'm always requesting for something, for a lot of freedom, you know, in terms of design. So I don't want to be forced by the game. The freedom is important. Please think about a mechanic we never had before, and something able to create also to promote the creation from the players. That's extremely important. That's why we developed the destruction. You know, this level design based on destruction. Honestly, it's extremely hard to do in terms of tech requirements. It's extremely difficult to do, but at the end, You know, the golden mine is it. It's incredible because it exists the level design and the level design you will create. So always when you are trying to add a mechanic, the benefit behind will be what kind of potential of creation we will bring from the player.
So specifically, maybe we have the new season coming out. We have Outbreak and we have Operation Chimera. So maybe can you tell us a little bit about how you went about coming with that idea? Because this is something quite new and quite different to Rainbow Six. Up until now, Rainbow Six Siege has been multiplayer mostly. Terrorist Hunt a little bit.
Still.
And it still is, that's still the focus?
Still it's a multiplayer. The best friend for a multiplayer game, in general, it's a kind of game mode like zombie mode, etc. Me, I'm a huge multiplayer player, you know?
Yeah.
And when I want to do some break, etc., recreation part, it's cool to play a zombie mode, etc. And for us, honestly, and it's true, we were also driven by the fact that it was fun to work on this event, you know? In a Clancy universe, it's something realistic like our game, because still we have heroes, operators, but still at the end it's realistic. It was so fun to do this thing, honestly. You know,
I've
as
heard
a disruption,
great things. I've not seen it myself, but I've heard really great things about it.
One thing really fun, and I can tell you, even in term with the developers, when we said yes, we will do an extraterrestrial mod, people was like, no, it's not possible. You can't do that. Yes, we will.
Something that maybe is also something you have to think about. You've mentioned balancing, that it comes later, but Rainbow Six Siege has a lot of different audiences. We have console players versus PC players, we have professional players versus very casual players who play just for fun, and then we also have new players who are joining the game every day, and players who've been playing every day for 2 years. How much of that factors into when you come up with new ideas and new directions to take the game into? How do you make sure that the game is fun and accessible for all of those different players?
Yeah, I will lie if I'm saying yes, the accessibility is perfect on this game. Not at all. This game is hard, you know, to connect with. It's not easy to enter in it. It's deep, you know. It's with a lot of layers, it's complex to learn, and it's also some effort we need to do in the future. To be honest, for the first year and the second year, I was personally focused on, you know, observe the game, learn a lot about all the metrics, the data, you know, because work on a live game, it's something I never did before, you know. I'm a player, I'm an online player, but I was not an online developer, which is different. So during 2 years, we learned many things, and we realized also that the core game exists, is really living, you know, strongly, and also the same thing with the community. And the community grows, and we were first focused to say to this community we want to increase the quality in terms of healthiness, you know, the netcode, etc. It's not something for newcomers, such a kind of thing, but it was to secure, you know, the core audience in the game. And now we are entering into maturity. We have the time, we learned that we have the time, we have the right to be patient, and now work on the design to extend this experience, to create some specific steps for the newcomers. And I would like to add something. I do no difference between e-sport and sport. In e-sport, we have the feelings and we are talking only to top players, you know. In sport, it's different. We got the feelings and sport are able to talk to top players, to newcomers, to baby steps, you know. And it's something I want. I want e-sport responsible to an entire program, able to manage all the population.
That's great. In your eyes, what makes Rainbow Six special and unique? What differentiates it from other games? And in connection with that, what contribution specifically of the creative team are you most proud of? So 2 questions really.
Okay, but this game is unique because this is a game I was looking for a long time. I'm a shooter player, okay, since Doom. Long time, okay, I'm not so young. And I played also Counter-Strike at the beginning, you know, when it was owned by the community, etc. And I discovered also another world, which is the RTS world. You know, StarCraft, Warcraft, etc., with a kind of meta extremely dense, you know, very strong density in terms of game mechanics, etc. And I had always the reflex practicing, you know, the muscle memory, you know, on the shooter games, such kind of things. But when I played RTS, it was different. I was more thinking with my brain, you know, like a chess game. And Siege was my dream to merge it. Yes, it's still based on skill, but you have to think, and it's way different.
That's great. And maybe just to wrap it up, what is your favorite operator in the game and why?
I'm tempted to say a Legion, not because of my t-shirt, but it's not about marketing. I'm really fan about this character because I really like the mix between observation. You know, you can reveal, you know, some position. You can prevent to some entry point because of his trapping with the mine. So Legion is one of my favorite. After I have a personal contact also in connection with IQ, because IQ was the first woman in a game which is not too military. See what I mean? She was. I got the feeling she's nice, etc., with beautiful eyes, etc. And I really like the kind of subtlety in coming into the game. It was something different, you know, a character with a different deepness. You know, she's less military background, more police background, etc. Getting into the GSG9, etc. So he was a character more subtle, more different than the others. And it's precisely what I want in the future. Always develop characters, personalization.
Excellent. That's very good. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really glad I got the opportunity to speak to you. Really great to see, and especially since you're the driving force behind the future of Rainbow Six. Really an absolute pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Same for me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.